So I am really excited for this webcast. Sometimes we cover a lot of topics in these webcasts, and I don't get a chance to really dig into the details. Um, that is not going to be the case today, since we're going to really take a thorough look at shared parameters. Throughout my years of experience using Revit, um, I and working with other Revit users, I've come across many people who have an aversion to using them and have still not implemented them into their daily Revit use. So one of my main goals today is to show you that they really are a useful part of the software and totally worth the few extra clicks. So we will start off by defining what shared parameters are. Then I will show some examples of them in use. And then I plan to do a demo of how you can create and implement them from scratch. I have tried to set this up so that anyone interested in Revit will get something out of this webcast today. So even if you have never used the software or have been using it for years, I know you will be able to leave today's webcast with at least some useful information. I have also set it up to give examples from as many different disciplines as possible. So if you are an MEP engineer, interior designer, fabricator, installer, contractor, architect, or building owner, I'm glad you were here, and I will incorporate something for as broad a range as possible here. And I hope everyone will stick around for the end of the presentation, as I plan to leave some time for live Q&A. Before we dig into shared parameters, it is helpful to understand what all three types of Revit parameters are, so we can understand what it would, or when it would be appropriate to use shared parameters. So I am sure there are a lot of you here today that build your own components in the family editor. If so, you are most likely familiar with family parameters, which can be easily and quickly added to any component to make it flex. And that gives you the framework needed to add different variations to your components, typically in the form of separate family types. So, as widely used and useful as these are, one downside to user created family parameters is that the values can't be easily displayed in schedules inside the project environment or used in tags. Now, next, we have project parameters. These are also super useful when you have some columns you need added to a schedule. For example, maybe I have a schedule of system furniture for an office layout, and I need to know who is using that desk, their department, phone extension, supervisor, shift, you name it. You can easily add this information into your schedule just via the project parameters. Of course, the downside of this is that you can only use this information in that one project. This is where shared parameters comes in. You get all the benefits of the family parameters and project parameters, plus the ability to share them with other components, projects, schedules, and tags. Then again, hence the name shared parameters. Okay, so now let's elaborate just a little bit on shared parameters. So when can we use them? Well, actually, anytime you create parameters, you will have the option to use or create a shared parameter. I would say it often gets overlooked or you just quickly click past it, but it should always be listed there as an option whenever you need to add a parameter. So let's take a look at a few examples of when I have used or seen shared parameters used in Revit. This first example is of a residential duplex development. And since it is essentially one building, you'll see that. I probably should have put the little thumbnail of the floor plan, but we'll see it on the next slide. Um, so both sides of this duplex are modeled in the same Revit file because it's one building. However, they wanted a way to have a schedule for each side of the duplex so they could closely monitor square footage for each unit during the initial budgeting and schematic design process. Now, I should mention that this can be done a few different ways without shared parameters. For example, um, they could have added a prefix or a suffix to the room number and then added a filter for each schedule. Um, or you could use a parameter that is close to what you need. Um, for example, I could use the department parameter that is built in already. And then another method would be to use or add a project parameter. In either case, you still have to use a filter for your schedule. So shared parameters aren't saving a step here, but ultimately it was decided that the best method was to add a shared parameter for units. This way they could utilize this field in multiple projects. And as you'll see in the next slide, they created a tag with this unit parameter built in. So you also had the benefit of keeping the room number clean and not having any, not putting like an A or a B in the room number. Let's go ahead and take a look at the next slide here. All right, so here's a look at the first floor plan of this building, and you can see the tag actually displays the value for the unit shared parameter. This will make it easier for the team to quickly identify which rooms belong to which unit. And then let's move along here. Furthermore, you can see in this slide that I have taken it one step further and created color fill for each unit. Now, I should point out that this also could easily have been accomplished using the built-in department parameter, but I think this method is better because it better fits the intended use. I don't want to say it would be sloppy to use an existing parameter for this because, I mean, hey, if it saves time and works for you, then go for it. But you will see in the demo that it just really isn't that hard to do this with a shared parameter, and it doesn't take a crazy amount of time, and it fits the use a little better. And the other benefit is after the initial setup, you can easily add these things into your company templates and use it on all of your future projects. So, you've taken just a few minutes to set this up in your template, and then you have it forever. So I did say I would show some examples from as many different disciplines as possible. So with a lot of Revit categories, we have the ability to extract values for things like height and width. This feature is built in for things like ductwork, columns, cable tray, windows, and doors, just to name a few, slight variations in there. However, some categories do not have these parameters built in out of the box. I don't believe this was any sort of oversight, because for a standard set of construction documents, this level of information might not be required. But I have had some cases where it was absolutely needed. And for sure, this information would be useful to the contractor, fabricator, or installer, or even for initial design considerations. So in this slide, you can see we have a set of air handling units, and it would be great if I could just grab the outer dimensions of this unit. That would really help me with the design and logistics on this job. You can see I have one of the units selected, and we're looking at the family types properties for this unit. You can see I actually have parameter values for unit width, unit height, and unit depth. So you might be thinking, well, yeah, that's great. Just create a schedule and add those parameters as columns to your schedule, right? No problem. Well, if you try to do that, here is what happens. When you look at the available fields for a mechanical equipment schedule, unfortunately, these parameters from the family component are not listed as available fields. So all I did was created some shared parameters for this, added them to my project, created a schedule and added the fields there. And once I had that done, I edited the family, swapped the already created family parameters out for the newly created shared parameters, loaded the family back in, and the values instantly populated for the type of properties in my schedule. So this is a pretty quick and dirty example. Maybe in our live demo portion, or let's say definitely in our live demo portion, I'll have some time to show you some tips and tricks to quickly clean the schedule up, hopefully kind of work in some related topics that you might not have already seen, just to clean it up a little more. And as promised here, this is another example from a different discipline. In this case, here's a structural column example with a tag that includes some shared parameters that I added, as well as a schedule displaying all that information. Let's see here. Okay. So here are some important things to know about shared parameters. They must be created and accessed via the Revit interface, but they're actually stored in a single text file that can be saved anywhere you like. I recommend placing this file in a shared network location where all Revit users have access and can be mapped to this exact file. I guess it is up to you to decide if all users have permission to modify your parameters, or maybe authorize one or 2 people to be in charge of maintaining your SP file. I threw an abbreviation there. I might say SP every once in a while. Now, a little disclaimer here. You can only have one shared parameter file active at a time. Today during the demo, and also in my training classes, we sometimes use multiple text files. And this is for the purpose of just showing the process of getting started for each different discipline. Now, you might also be thinking, well, I have hundreds of parameters. How can I keep this one file organized? Well, as we go, you will see that we have the ability to group parameters together inside this file, and that will help keep it organized. In fact, you have to have at least one group before you can even create the first parameter. So let's say I have 3 different height parameters. Well, maybe they are for different categories. So I could have a separate folder for each category and all of its associated parameters. That's a good way of organizing it. So you will never, ever need to open up your text file for editing because everything will be handled via the Revit interface. And in fact, you should definitely never open it up in the off chance that you accidentally modify the file. It will probably break it. That being said, I know a lot of you, like me, might be curious to see what it looks like. So I included a screenshot here of what one looks like when you open it. Again, you will never need to open this file, as you will be able to do all of your adding, modifications, editing, and deleting from within Revit, and it will update this text file. All right, so let's see how we're doing on time here. I think we're doing pretty good. So let's go ahead and see some live examples here. We'll go ahead and switch over to Revit Revit in a second here. But before we switch over, I just want to let you know, I plan to build up our data sets from scratch using out-of-the-box components. I do this for a few reasons. One, so you get a realistic idea of how long these things take to accomplish. And 2, so you know I didn't spend hours doing prep work and just kind of add some finishing touches in the demo. And also so you can hopefully try and follow along if you want, either live, it's going to go pretty quick, or whenever the recording becomes available. So like I said, everything will be built from scratch. If not, I will be sure to point out anything I have prepared in advance here. Okay, let's switch over to Revit here now. Okay, so the first one we're going to do, let's do the air handling unit example here. Give me 1 second here. All right. All right, so we got our favorite plumbing consultant to help us out here today. We're just going to start a new project, and I'll use the default systems template. And let's go over to the systems tab, find the mechanical equipment tool here. Go over to my type selector. I like pointing out what all these things are as we go, just in case you didn't know. So I'll find just a couple of these units, place them in here, nothing crazy. I'm gonna do a couple different types, just so we have something to look at here. All right. So now that I put these in here, it would be really great if we had a way of finding what the outer dimensions are. Let's go to a 3D view here. So I want to know what are the volumetric dimensions of this thing? Well, if I click on one, you can see I don't have parameter values for the height, width, and depth. They're not there. So we can do this with shared parameters. So let's go ahead and add them in here. How do we do that? Well, for us, we're going to go to the Manage tab. And we can do this two ways. One, you could go straight to shared parameters and either browse to an already created parameter file or create your own and create the parameters. But if you do that, you will then have to go back up here to project parameters and still add those created shared parameters to this project. So fortunately, I can actually do this step inside of this one. Maybe I'll do both methods today, but for starting out, let's just say I'm ready to add a project parameter. And when I go to add them, I get the ability here to add a shared parameter. So I'll click select here. And if I don't see the parameters I need, I can click the edit button and see what parameter file is already in use. Now, in the real world, this would be mapped to my one single parameter file, and I could either grab them or add them if I didn't have them. But in my case, let's say I'm starting from scratch and I need to create a brand new shared parameter file. Well, in that case, we'll just click create. And you can see I have a whole bunch here already. We'll just put that in there. So brand new shared parameter file. Now I'm ready to add them. So remember how I said before, you're going to have to create one group. So I'll say groups new, and maybe I'll call it, this will be for all my mechanical equipment parameters. So I've got a folder now for that. And now that activates your parameters here. So I could say new. And I'm going to need one for depth, height, and width. These are all going to be length parameters. So maybe I'll call the first one mech unit depth. Type of parameter is length. All three of these are going to be length parameters. Maybe we'll do a few others as we go today, but for this example, they're all going to be length, so I can click OK. And then I could add the other ones now, but let's just click OK. And then, so I've now created that parameter to the shared parameter file. And this is where I select it to get added back to the project. Now, this is where I need to be super careful. I'm sure I'll probably mess this up as we go. This is going to be a type parameter. When we scroll down here, this is the other major important thing. since we're now taking that shared parameter created, that mech unit depth that we created to that external source, we're adding it to our project, but we get to decide what category to use. So let me go down here, I'll find mechanical equipment and add that. So now it's added to the project, click OK. And now I can add in the rest. So you know what, let me show you another way we can do this. I'll just go straight into shared parameters. And this is mapped directly to that file that we created. And I can just quickly add in a new one here. Let's say I need mech unit height. It's also a length parameter. And click OK. So all that did was just modified my shared parameter file. I didn't add them to the project. So if I go back to project parameters, I'll have to click add, click on shared parameters, click select. There it is, mech unit height. Click OK, make it a type parameter, and assign it to mechanical equipment. Go ahead and click OK. And while I'm here, maybe I'll add in the third one. So it's going to be a type. I'll click select and I'll click edit, which when I click that, that's what gets me back in here to the shared parameter manager. And I'll add that new parameter for mech unit width. Click OK here. And go ahead and click OK. Let's see, I think I already had depth and height, so I need to make sure I click on width, add it, type parameter, and let's make sure we assign it to mechanical equipment. And we've got all three, click OK. So these parameters have been created, they've been saved to that external text file where they've been stored, and now they've been added. How do I know they've been added? Well, if I click on a piece of mechanical equipment, oh, you know what, I forgot one other thing here. When I added them to the project, hang on a second here. I'll have to go into the type properties to find them. There they are, they're down here. They're all under dimensions, that's fine. As we go, I'll probably group them under other just so we can quickly find them. But look at this, the values are empty. We also have unit height and depth. I'm gonna have to connect the dots here, but we'll have to go into the family editor to do that. So let's say I slap a schedule together here real quick. Let's go to the View tab, run a schedule, schedules and quantities. Of course, this is a mechanical equipment schedule. Click OK. And let's do family type. These are all the columns for my schedule. So I want the family, I want the type, and I want these dimension parameters. So I'll go add in depth, height, and width. And once I click OK, here's my schedule. Notice these values are empty because I haven't really connected the dots for those yet. So let's do that now. Ready to connect the dots. Let's go back to the 3D view, click on any one of these, and go into the family editor, go into family types, and here's where those parameters are stored that I need. Watch this. If I just click on one of these, you can click the edit button and swap it out for your shared parameter. Which one do I click on? Width, there it is. Width, click OK. OK. Unit height, edit, switch to shared parameters, select, mech unit height, okay, okay, and unit depth, edit, shared parameter, select, depth, okay, okay, okay. Now I can just load it into the project. Now, you've probably seen this before. We can either overwrite the existing version or overwrite the existing version with its parameter values. Well, we've actually done some tweaking with the parameters, so we need to do this bottom option here. And as soon as we do that, you can see my schedule is now filled out a little bit with all that information. So as promised, I want to show you just a few tips and tricks here about cleaning up the schedule. If you go over here, you might have known about this one. This is kind of an easy one. If you click inside the title, you can shift select these and group them. Maybe call this dimensions. So that's the first thing I like to do to clean it up. And you can actually rename these without affecting the actual parameter. This is just the text display. So I could actually call this depth, height, and even width over here. Let's see here. Okay. Now, you might also want to see, so our project settings are set to feet and inches, fractional feet and inches, but maybe for my schedule, I just want to know fractional inches. So let me show you how you can modify this. So let's say you go to your formatting tab over here. Click edit, that takes you straight to the formatting tab. Click on any of these fields, depth, width, or height, and look at this. There's a field formatting override where I can say, let's not use the project standards. Let's do fractional inches, and let's round it to the nearest eighth or quarter inch. Okay, let's do that for all three of these. While we're here, let's add in some extra tips. And then when I click OK, got a nice clean little schedule there. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and say we're probably good for this example. I'll go ahead and save my file. Yeah, let's save it here. I'll save it just in case we want to come back and use it later. And I don't need to save any changes to that air handle unit yet. Yeah, let's close out here. All right, so let's do another example here. Let me think of a good one here. Oh, yeah, I got one. Let's do an office furniture example. Love this one. Let's go to new. For this one, we could probably get away with using the architectural template. Yeah, and if I'm not really taking the time to answer any questions yet, I'm going to hold them to the very end. But if you do have a question while you're thinking about it, feel free to go ahead and type it into the question box, and just know that I'll get to it when we get to the Q&A at the end. So for this one, let's say maybe, let me think of an example here. Maybe you're space planner or interior designer, you're doing a furniture layout. Let's go ahead and add some system furniture in here. So I'll go to the system furniture folder. Let's look for the desks. Work surfaces, let's see. Oh yeah, okay, that'll work. Let's just grab a regular old cubicle here, load that in, and I'll just place in a couple. Okay, now, wouldn't it be nice if I could tag these and be able to pull information for, well, whose desk is it? So maybe I need to know the employee, I need to know their phone extension, I need to know their supervisor, or you name it, any other information that needs to be associated with this cubicle. Really, the only parameters we have are whatever we have listed here or in the type properties. Now you could usurp any of these parameters for whatever you need, but it's a lot more professional to add our own parameters here. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's say I'll go to Manage, Project Parameters, click Add. Now again, so I'm clicking on Shared Parameters and I click Select. Well, it's still pathed to my shared parameter file that I had before. And in the real world, like I said, I would just have another folder for systems, furniture systems. But just to reiterate how to create one from scratch, you just click Create, tell it where you want to save it. And I'll save that. Brand new file. Let's do a new group here. System furniture, or furniture system. And we can add in whatever parameters we need. So I'll say new parameter. I'll do one for furniture system employee. So this is where this is not going to be a length parameter. This is going to be text. So I'll say okay. I can add another new one. Maybe I want furniture system extension. Again, this is also going to be text. Okay. And then I'll do another new one for furniture system. Maybe I need supervisor. Text also, click OK. And then, okay. So that added the parameters to the shared parameter file. Now I need to select which one I want to add into the project. So I'll do employee, click OK. This is going to be an instance parameter, but let's do furniture systems here. So we got to set the category. That's important here. And then I'll say OK, add another one, click on shared parameters, do extension, click OK, instance, set the category. Now you can do multiple categories. You can definitely do that for certain parameters. It's kind of up to you how you want to organize it. Click OK, add in another one, need supervisor. Okay, so now that these have been added, these were instance parameters. So look what I did here. I grouped some under text and some under dimensions. It probably would have been a lot better to group them all under maybe like identity data. I probably should have done that. Yeah. So I could go back in and modify them. Now this is just inside the project. This is not saving them back to the shared parameter file, because you'll have the ability to group these wherever you need inside the project and assign them to whatever categories you need. There we go. All right. So now they're kind of grouped together under identity data. I feel like that makes a little more sense for me. All right, so now let's pull a schedule here real quick, just so we can see what fields we want to use. So I'll go to View, Schedule, Quantities. Let's do Furniture System. Click OK. I'll kind of speed this up a little bit because we still got to do a structural, and I got another extra example I want to show. So we'll do Family, do Type, and then we'll get all of our shared parameters in here. Click OK. All right, so again, these values have not been populated. So maybe I'll put in some fields here. You know, just a few. Oops. So wouldn't it be great if we could display all this information in a tag? Well, you can totally do that. Let's say I throw a tag on here. I don't have one loaded, so I'll just load one in. Furniture Systems, let's go back up to the Annotations folder. Architectural, Furniture System tag, click Open. And if I place one in here, the properties that are built into this tag are not displayed. Good news is I can modify this, duplicate it and modify it and add my shared parameters. So let's see how that's done. Click on this, edit family. And then you know what, I'm gonna blow away the lines here. Click on this, edit the label. And then pull type mark out of there because I don't need that. But I need those shared parameters. How do I get them? Well, you can add them in right here. Add, select, pull them in one by one. You got employee, need extension, supervisor, and check this out. You can add them in. You can add all three of them in to the same label. And you can add a break here, which adds a line. So I got the employee, the extension, and the supervisor all built in. I say, okay. And maybe I'll just kind of tweak this a little bit, load it in. So overwrite it. There we go. So there's our first one. Let's tag the rest of these. And I don't think we added in a supervisor field here yet, so maybe I could select these, filter out just the furniture. Maybe we'll make and the supervisor here. Did I not do that as a text parameter? Yeah, you know what? I probably did that as a length parameter. That's funny. Okay. So I messed that one up. So let's say the supervisor is 4 feet. Yeah, I got a big mismatch here. That's funny. Okay, so sometimes I do a lot of talking and not a lot of talking and not a lot of thinking. So I missed a step or two, but you get the point there. All right, so let's now do a structural example. All right, let's go ahead and save this in case we want to come back here. Maybe after I get through the other ones, I'll come back here and show you how to fix that one. It really won't take much time, but I want to get through the other examples. And leave plenty of time to get through some of the questions. I'm seeing some pop through. All right, so let's do a little structural example here. Let's go to new structural template, click OK. And I'll just quickly make a little layout here. Get a little grid layout. Yep. 20 feet, 2, some more copies. Let's get 24 and 20. I'm definitely using a few, questionable modeling practices just to kind of speed this up a little bit here. Switch to a lettering here. I don't know if you knew, if you hit the shift key, you can just very quickly make orthogonal lines clicking. So I'll copy on up here. Okay. All right. Now let's put some columns in here, do some structural columns. Just pick any one of them is fine. And you could individually click to place these, or we can do this cool @grids option where I could place a column everywhere. Maybe just to spice it up a little bit, I'll delete a few here. Get a little nice L-shaped plan. Now for this one, what we're going to do is we're going to do structural bracket parameters, pull some of that information out of here. So let me show you how to do that. Let's go to manage and shared parameters. But check this out. If you already have that shared parameter file saved, you can click browse and go right to it. Now these are already added in here. So click OK, then go to project parameters, click add, and then select the ones that are a part of that file. So I was able to, since I already had these created, I was able to save a step. Now, just in the interest of time, I sped that up, but you can always click edit and create, and then new group and new parameter if you're starting from complete scratch here. So we'll do instance parameter here, we'll do structural. Columns for the bracket finish. I'll add another one for bracket offset from base. Again, you got to remember it's structural columns, not columns. Okay, and then we'll add, what's the third one? Bracket type. These are instance properties, again, structural columns. Click OK, OK. And then, let's see what we got here. So for this one, maybe we don't need the schedule, but for sure we need a tag here. So again, I don't think I didn't pay attention to the grouping. So I got 100 text, 100 materials. You could always go back and modify those if you need to, but maybe I'll put some values in here, maybe for bracket finish, maybe they're all metal. So I'll click on all of these. For bracket finish, click in here, go to the material editor. So we haven't seen a material parameter yet. So let's find one. Metal. Go to the M's down here, look for metal, there we go. Double click to add it to the project. Maybe these go up, maybe the bracket offset's 12 feet from the base. Maybe for these it's 15 feet. And then let me think of another one. We can do maybe the bracket type. So maybe these are all banner. And maybe these are sculptural. But then I can add in a tag here. Let's say I go to, you know what, for this, I think we got time. Let's make one from scratch. Super easy. File, new, family, annotations, generic tag. Can delete all that extra text. This is important, the family category. I usually mess this up, but I remembered it, luckily. Gotta set it to structural column tags. Click OK. And then maybe for this one, I do want a little border. I could probably fit all this information in like a 1 inch by ½ inch box here. And then let's see here. So I've got all that, and then add in a label. Got to add in our shared parameters. We got finish, bracket offset from base, and our bracket type. Now I'll get all 3 of these in here, but you know what? I ordered them wrong. Maybe I want the bracket type up top so you can shuffle these around pretty easily. Yeah, maybe I want this one up here. Okay. And then just kind of center that a little bit, just get it kind of in there. I'll just load it in. I probably should have saved that out. And you could then go ahead and tag, but here's something I like to do. I like to go to annotate, tag all, and then go to structural column tags. You could even do a leader by clicking that button, click OK. Select all. And just kind of use your arrow keys, nudge them over a little bit, kind of clean it up. And now you've got all your information here. So again, I could easily put this all in a schedule too. That wouldn't be an issue at all. In the interest of time, I want to show you one more example here, but this one will be already done. Kind of running short on time, so I'm not going to build it click by click, but I just kind of want to give you just a couple other examples where I found this useful. Let me open up a project here. So here's an example where Maybe you're doing a space planning where I've got, click on this room here. For this, I was able to add in, well, first of all, let me say I'm working on a building here. This is my entire sales department. So the department parameter is already taken up. Every single one I click on here, these are all sales. But I want to further break it down by maybe division. So what I did was I added in a shared parameter for sector. And that gave me something else, like another layer to organize these. How did I get that color fill in there? Let me show you how to do that. Let me duplicate the view. Let's get rid of the color fill. I'll show you how to do this. This is super fun. So now that I have this extra parameter in here, there's actually a value here. You can add a color scheme into this. I'm going to do rooms, and I've already got one here for sector. You could do it for any parameter. Once you got that parameter in here, you can use it. It'll create a nice little color fill, and if you can actually go to the Analyze tab and add in a color fill legend. All right, so with that, let me switch back over here to let's see. Yeah, let's go back to our presentation here. Get the last little slide here for you. All right, so I know we were laser focused on parameters today, and if you would like to learn more and see this again in a classroom setting with a live instructor, we'd love to have you join, where you can follow along click by click instruction, as well as do some classroom exercises to get extra practice. This topic that we covered does occur in our 2-day BIM management template and family creation class, which spends an entire day of building content from scratch in the family editor. We will walk through all the picks and clicks and learn how to create any kind of content you need and incorporate a lot of what we talked about today. And contrary to the BIM management title, you do not have to be a BIM manager to take this class. We believe that the content covered is essential for any Revit user. In addition to content creation and shared parameters, some of the topics include in-depth schedules, view templates, view filters, and discipline-specific setup for your project templates. And as you can see, we actually have a class starting in a few weeks, as well as a class in June. And like I said, we'd love to have you join us. It really is a great class, and you might be looking at your calendar thinking, hey, those dates don't work too well for me. Well, that's cool too. We will always be happy to add a class based on some dates that work for you. As long as we have 2 people, we can run a class open to the public. And you might also be thinking, well, this is great, but my work is super customized, or you want a private class for yourself or your team. We can do that too. Just get in touch with your Hagerman and Company sales representative, or let me know, and I can have them reach out. We would love to have a call with you and your team to discuss your needs. I would also mention you can always keep an eye out for our social media, blog, and email list for announcements regarding classes offered, relevant and useful, and best of all, free articles. It's all free. Free articles, tips, and videos. And with that, let me just open it up for the Q&A here. If you didn't have a chance to ask yet, go right ahead. Let's see what we got here. And if you have to drop off the call, that's fine. If you didn't get to hear your answer here, we do get a copy of the questions, and I can reach out individually. So let me see here. We've got a few questions. Let's see. Yeah, and if there's a question I don't know the answer to, I'll look it up for you and definitely get back to you. Okay, so Nadia wanted to know why I chose the systems template. Oh, in that case, I chose the systems template because I wanted to do an MEP example, and I knew that it had just some of the basic components that I wanted to use already preloaded. That comes out of the box, and all the views are set so that when I add those components, they'll be showing them visible and displaying them the way that I wanted. So that's why. So I guess I could type in an answer here, but since I answered it over the web, let me see. Let me see if there's any other questions here. Let's see. Okay, yeah, now we had a question about the work sharing environment and using shared parameters. Yeah, you could just save it in any network location, and everyone, as long as they're mapped to it in the same path, it's perfectly fine. Let's see here. Yeah, and if you need to use another company's shared parameters in your file, I haven't tested this out, but I think Joshua asked this question. I'm fairly certain that they will have to send you that text file. I think that's the only way to add it to your project. So yeah, there were a couple other questions that were either like slightly related, and I'll get back to you individually. But in the interest of time, I think I've kind of gone over. So again, I apologize for that, but thanks for everybody for sticking around. Hope you enjoyed it. And I put my contact information up here. Be sure to keep in touch. I'd love to hear from you guys. If you got any other ideas for webcasts, just sling them my way, and be happy to put something together. All right. I think that's it. Ashley, thanks again, everybody.
Yeah, thank you, Dan, for the presentation. Thank you all for attending. A reminder that the survey will pop up as we close down. You can leave any comments or questions there as well. And also a reminder that you will receive an email tomorrow, which will contain a link for the recording. So with that, we will close down for the day, but have a great day, everyone.